speak to us. This is one, and I don't want to just flip by these songs because there's something powerful about the lyric of this song Micah wrote. Tell him the story about Lou in Seattle when you met him.
I met Lou probably 8 years ago, and my wife and I were dating, and he started coming to our church, and we just would look at him and just think, that guy is so cool. He was just this little old Italian guy from New York. We live in Minnesota, so that's kind of funny. And he had this, Brooklyn accent, and it was just, we just love him. My wife thought he was so cute. And anyways, so, but we would just see him and think, he is so cool. We just got to hang out with him. And I don't know, we just figured it out. And so we, for probably 5 years, we just were great friends. And we'd go, my wife and I, we'd go hang out with him at his apartment, and she'd clean his little apartment, and him and I would sit down, look at all his pictures, talk about the war and things like that. And it's just a blast, just talking about life. And I remember anytime we'd get to, Lou lost 2 different wives to cancer in his life, and his first wife, anytime we would pass by her picture or anything like that, he'd just start crying, and he was 80 years old, and she died when he was, I think, in his 50s or something. So just so many little things about his life impressed me, and I just saw all these little things that made me feel in so many ways. And so a couple of years ago, I think he was 84 or something like that, but he was in Seattle, and he was dying of throat cancer, and he was out there living with his son and his wife, and he couldn't hardly talk anymore. And Bryan and I went to go see him because we were playing in Seattle that weekend, and we went over there just to be with him, and he couldn't hardly talk, but he could cry, and there's just so many things about him that changed my life. But Bryan and I went over there, and he wanted to pray over us and bless us, and he could hardly speak. He could hardly tell what he was saying, but I could make out these words that he just prayed. No matter where you go, I will keep you safe. Don't ever be afraid, because I will always, always be with you. And I remember that he said it twice. He said always, always twice. It just stuck out in my head, and it was just such an impactful moment. And that was the last time I saw Lou Lembo. And I just think about his life, and I think of, I think of all the things that happened to him in his life. He was married, he had kids that did crazy things, but finally, came back to the Lord, and he wasn't even saved till he was in his 70s. And he lost tons of money in business, made lots of money, lost it all in business. He lost 2 wives to cancer. He was in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. He's seen it all. He'd seen Nazi concentration camps. This guy had been through more things than I can imagine. And at the end of his life, he's telling me, no matter where I go, you know, the Lord will always keep me safe. He'll always be with me. And that's something that I can't know. That's something I can be assured of now because I know how much he's lived. So that's this song's about, Lou.